Most men over 60 have no idea that what's happening to their penis isn't just aging. It's a warning sign. A sign that blood is no longer flowing freely, that your pelvic tissues are inflamed, and that your manhood is silently shutting down. You might notice it when your morning erection fades, when intimacy becomes difficult, or when you get up multiple times at night to urinate. But here's what no one tells you. There's a simple, natural way to restore what you thought was lost, by mixing castor oil with baking soda. I'm Dr. Jocelyn, a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, and writer with decades of experience helping men understand the deep connections between mind, body, and emotional well-being. For years, I've worked alongside specialists in men's health, studying how psychological patterns, stress, and neglect silently erode vitality without drugs, without shame, and without false hope. Now, I know it sounds strange. Castor oil, baking soda. What could that possibly do for your penis? But that's exactly why I need you to stay with me, because the science behind this blend touches every root cause of erectile decline. Poor blood flow, inflamed prostate, tissue stiffness, and toxic buildup in the groin. In this video, I'll walk you through how this combination works, why it restores confidence and function in as little as 7 days, and exactly how to use it safely, step by step. You're about to discover what happens when you mix two simple ingredients and give your body a second chance. And by the end, you'll understand why this might be the most overlooked secret in men's health today. Before we dive into this powerful healing method, make sure you've subscribed and turned on the bell so you never miss another natural health tip made just for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I'm always here to learn and serve you better. Let's begin with something most men don't realize, and it's the very reason this castor oil and baking soda method matters so much. It's not just age that weakens your erections or dulls your sensitivity. It's what's happening inside your body. A silent, gradual decline in circulation, inflammation pressing on nerves, and a prostate that's no longer functioning as it should. This is the first key you need to understand, because once you do, everything else begins to make sense. 1. Why penile function declines after 60 and why this isn't your fault. I want to tell you something that may surprise you. If your erections aren't what they used to be, if your sensitivity feels dull, or if you wake up during the night more often than you'd like, this is not your fault. And it's not just old age catching up with you either. That explanation is far too easy and frankly misleading. What's really happening is more complex and far more hopeful. Because once you understand it, you can start to reverse it. You see, for decades, I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, strong men, wise men who felt ashamed. They thought something was broken in them, that they were losing their manhood, that they were less of a man because they couldn't perform like they used to. I remember one gentleman, Raymond, who looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I feel like I vanished down there." That hit me hard. But I also knew it wasn't permanent because I'd seen men come back from it many times. The real reason your function declines is rooted in blood flow, or more specifically, the loss of it. As we age, the arteries that feed blood to the pelvic region become stiff, narrow, and less responsive. Your penis depends on good circulation more than almost any other part of your body. Without it, sensitivity drops, firmness fades, and response time slows. It's not your hormones, it's not your desire, it's your blood. But that's only part of the story. There's also inflammation, especially around the prostate, that puts pressure on nearby nerves and blood vessels. This not only interferes with your ability to get or keep an erection, but also causes that constant urge to urinate at night, breaking your sleep and draining your energy. When your lower pelvis becomes inflamed and congested, it's like trying to run an engine with blocked fuel lines. And then there's stagnation. After 60, many men move less, sit longer, and unknowingly trap toxins and lymphatic waste in the groin. The body's natural detox pathways slow down. Blood gets sluggish. Tissues don't get the oxygen they need. Over time, this internal congestion starts showing up as fatigue, loss of arousal, numbness, and emotional disconnection. But here's the good news. Once you understand that the problem isn't age, it's congestion, inflammation, and circulation, you can do something about it. Not with pills, not with gimmicks, but with something as simple and natural as castor oil and baking soda. 2. Castor oil, the circulation warrior for the male body. When I first learned about castor oil, it was just a footnote, something old-fashioned, something used in folk remedies and grandmothers' pantries. But years later, as I began focusing on men's emotional and physical well-being, I started to revisit forgotten remedies with fresh eyes. And what I found in castor oil left me speechless. Not because it's trendy or exotic or expensive, but because it works. And it works in a way that modern approaches often overlook. You see, castor oil has one very unique trait. It penetrates deep. Unlike most oils that sit on the skin surface, castor oil travels through the layers of tissue. It doesn't just warm the skin, it moves, carrying anti-inflammatory and circulation-boosting compounds directly into congested areas. I remember a man named Walter, age 74, who came to me after 2 years of struggling with weak erections and a near total loss of sensation. He'd tried supplements, even considered injections, but nothing really helped. We began a simple regimen using castor oil packs applied gently over the lower abdomen and groin area. Within 2 weeks, he returned with tears in his eyes. "Doc," he said, "it's like something switched back on." That's the power of blood flow. And castor oil doesn't just help blood get there, it encourages the lymphatic system to clear waste and reduce swelling. That's crucial for older men because the groin and lower pelvis tend to become dumping grounds for toxins and metabolic buildup over time. Castor oil stimulates something deeper, the reawakening of connection to your own body. Some men report a sense of warmth, others a return of subtle sensations they thought were lost forever. This isn't magic, it's biology revived through nature. 3. Baking soda, the detoxifier that softens hardened tissue. Most people think of baking soda as something you keep in the kitchen, but inside the body of an aging man, baking soda becomes something far more powerful. It becomes a healer, a gentle, natural force that breaks down years of silent buildup, acid, stiffness, and toxic debris that have slowly robbed your manhood of strength and sensitivity. I remember one of my patients, Ronald, age 68, who had lived a clean, disciplined life. But even so, his erections were weak. His groin felt tight and heavy, and he always felt like something was clogged inside. Every test came back fine. But then I asked him a question most doctors never think to ask. Have you ever tried using baking soda topically? What most people don't realize is that baking soda neutralizes acid that builds up in tissues, especially in areas with low circulation like the lower pelvis. When acidity goes unchecked, it creates an environment where inflammation thrives. Over time, it hardens soft tissue, narrows blood vessels, and makes the body more resistant to healing. But when applied correctly, especially when combined with castor oil, baking soda softens what's stiff, loosens what's stuck, and clears pathways that have been blocked for years. Ronald followed a simple protocol. He mixed a small amount of baking soda into warm castor oil, applied it gently across the lower abdomen and inner thighs, and let it rest under a warm cloth. After just 4 sessions, he reported feeling a warmth I haven't felt since I was 40. And the next week, he came back with a grin and said, "Doc, I woke up with morning wood for the first time in 6 years." 4. How to apply the castor oil and baking soda method. This is where everything begins to change, not in theory, but in practice. Now that you understand what castor oil and baking soda do individually, the real transformation happens when you use them together with purpose, patience, and presence. Start with a clean, warm cloth. Mix 1 tablespoon of castor oil with just a pinch, about half a teaspoon, of baking soda. Stir until smooth. Gently warm the mixture if you'd like, either by letting it sit in a bowl of warm water or holding it in your palms. Then, in a quiet moment, no rush, no distractions, apply the mixture over the lower abdomen, inner thighs, and base of the groin. These are the areas where blood flow to the penis originates. These are the power lines, and they need to be clear. Massage slowly in a circular motion, not rough, not rushed. This isn't about force. It's about awakening tissue, encouraging circulation, and signaling your nervous system that it's safe to open. Once applied, lie down for 10 to 15 minutes. Let the warmth seep in. Let the quiet return to your nervous system. No phone, no distractions, just stillness. If you want to go deeper, apply a warm compress for added absorption. Some men notice warmth or tingling within days. Others say they sleep better. Some even report fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom. But across the board, what I hear most often is, I feel something again. That's the beginning of restoration, not just physically, but emotionally. 5. The forgotten pressure points that boost circulation. Sometimes the answers we need aren't hidden in pills or procedures, but in the very palms of our hands. Over the years, I've learned that the human body holds its own keys, quiet little switches that, when activated correctly, can reignite energy and blood flow in ways that science is only beginning to rediscover. Let me tell you about George, a 79-year-old widower who came to me not just for advice on performance, but for something deeper. He said, "I don't want to feel invisible anymore." His voice trembled. We didn't talk about medications, we talked about touch. I showed him 3 simple pressure points that, when activated while applying the castor oil and baking soda blend, could help stimulate blood vessels, calm the nervous system, and bring sensation back. The first is right at the base of the wrist, in the soft hollow between the 2 tendons, known as the heart 7 point. When pressed gently for 60 seconds, it helps reduce stress and open blood vessels. The second is located on the inner thigh, about 4 finger widths from the groin crease. Pressing here boosts blood flow to the pelvis and supports lymphatic drainage. The third, perhaps the most powerful, is found between the big toe and second toe, just where they meet the foot, known as liver 3. This point helps regulate circulation and testosterone-related energy. 2 weeks later, George called me. His voice was different, stronger, brighter. "Doc," he said, "for the first time in years, I woke up feeling like myself again." 6. The foods that make or break your results. There's a moment after you apply the castor oil and baking soda blend when your body is open, calm. The blood vessels are wider, the tissues are softer, and your system is more receptive than usual. This is when what you eat matters more than ever. I'll tell you about Bill, 72, former firefighter, tough as nails, but frustrated beyond words. He had been doing the method regularly. "I feel the warmth coming back," he said, "but something's off." So I asked him to write down everything he ate for a week, and there it was, tons of white bread, processed meats, cheese, and soda. No color, no life. I helped him shift. Nothing fancy, just real food with purpose. Beet juice after application to flood the area with nitric oxide. Half an avocado for the healthy fats that feed your hormones. A small bowl of steamed spinach with olive oil and garlic, one of the most powerful natural artery softeners I know. And a piece of dark chocolate. Yes, real cacao, because it stimulates nitric oxide and supports male performance. After a week, Bill felt different. He wasn't just feeling better down there, he was waking up earlier, walking further, even flirting again. "I thought I was finished," he told me. "Now I'm planning a weekend with my old high school sweetheart." 7. The mindset shift that reactivates your manhood. Most men over 60 don't realize it, but the biggest obstacle to recovery isn't physical. It's what you silently tell yourself every morning when you look in the mirror. The quiet belief that "this is just what happens at my age" becomes a silent permission slip to accept decline. I remember Frank, a 67-year-old who had survived prostate surgery. He told me, "Doc, I'm physically fine, but I don't feel like a man anymore." That broke my heart. So instead of more prescriptions, I asked him to do something simple. Every time he applied the castor oil and baking soda blend, I asked him to place one hand on his chest and say out loud, "I still matter. My story isn't over." It sounded silly to him at first, but over the next month, something shifted. Not just in his body, but in his eyes, his posture, the way he spoke about himself. "I feel alive again," he said. "Not because everything's perfect, but because I stopped treating myself like I was already gone." Your body responds to intention. When you approach healing not from desperation but from belief, something inside reignites. 8. The 7-day routine that brings it all together. Every evening, take a moment to slow down. This isn't another chore, it's a ritual. Warm a tablespoon of organic castor oil. Mix in a pinch of baking soda until it forms a smooth, slightly thick blend. Apply it gently to your lower abdomen and pubic area using slow, circular motions. Once applied, lie down for 10 to 15 minutes. Let the warmth seep in. No phone, no distractions, just stillness. Right after, give your body the nutrients it needs. A small bowl of spinach or beetroot, a hard-boiled egg, or a glass of pomegranate juice. These aren't fancy superfoods, they're circulation allies. Repeat this every night for 7 days. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s start to feel a flicker of energy they thought was long gone. 9. What to expect after 7, 14, and 30 days. By day 7, the first thing you'll likely notice is warmth, not just from the oil, but from within, a quiet awakening. Maybe you wake up with a slight fullness, a feeling you haven't felt in a while. By day 14, the changes deepen. The area around your pelvis may feel lighter, less tense. Erections may return with more strength, even if you're not fully aroused. By day 30, something deeper happens. You stop thinking of this as a treatment and start feeling it as part of who you are. Blood vessels that were constricted begin to open. Nerve signals that were dulled begin to reconnect. I remember Robert, who told me after 30 days, "It's not just that things are working again, it's that I feel like myself again. My wife sees it. My walk is different. Even my handshake is stronger." 10. The final ingredient hiding in your kitchen. It's apple cider vinegar. When taken just a few drops in warm water before your castor oil and baking soda ritual, apple cider vinegar helps optimize your body's pH levels. This small shift reduces inflammation, supports liver detoxification, and improves how your body absorbs minerals. And here's the key. It promotes nitric oxide activity, the very compound that triggers stronger blood flow to the penis. Within a week of adding apple cider vinegar to their nightly protocol, my patients report firmer erections, better sleep, and more energy in the morning. Conclusion: your new beginning starts now. So here we are. You've walked through a path that many men never even consider. One built not on pills or quick fixes, but on knowledge, tradition, and the courage to try something different. From the ancient healing touch of castor oil to the balancing strength of baking soda, from restoring blood flow to rewiring your nervous system, and finally, that humble bottle of apple cider vinegar quietly tying it all together. Each piece has built a foundation beneath your feet. This isn't just about your penis. It's about how you feel when you wake up. It's about your confidence when you look in the mirror. It's about how you show up for your partner, your family, and most importantly, yourself. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s discovering they're not finished, that their body still has stories to write, passion to share, and strength to give. So take this knowledge and turn it into action, because this isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of a chapter that's stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever. You've earned this. Now go reclaim it. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below to tell me how this helped you. You matter. Your health matters. Let's keep going together.